Buying a home is on a lot of people's bucket lists, but if you've never done it, then you probably don't know what to expect. So today we're chatting through 6 things you need to know if you're going to be buying a home in Chicago. If you're new here, I'm Claudia. I'm a realtor with Compass, and I work with buyers, sellers, and renters. Every market in the US is so different, which is why today we're just focusing in on Chicago. So the first thing you need to know is Chicago is very neighborhood based. Every neighborhood has a completely different feel. The other day I was driving with a client who's from Indiana, and we drove from Lakeview to Lincoln Park, which are literally right next to each other. And he could tell the difference, and he mentioned how he could already feel that the neighborhoods were different, and we had just driven 1 block. Not only do they have different feels, but the prices and taxes are going to vary pretty significantly from neighborhood to neighborhood. So if you get pre-approved for a mortgage and you're comfortable with a certain monthly payment that mortgage gets you, you may not be able to afford that monthly payment if you go into a different neighborhood solely because of the taxes that can vary sometimes hundreds of dollars from area to area. Illinois is ranked number 2 for highest taxes in the country, right behind New Jersey. So that's just something you have to keep in mind when you're shopping in Chicago. Number 2, Chicago is such a hyper local market. You cannot rely on just national headline news if you're buying right now. Chicago has historically been a little bit more insulated than the coasts when it comes to big real estate swings. We don't swing as high and we don't swing as low as New York, California, Miami, Seattle, just as a couple examples. We are a little bit more insulated, and our markets are a little bit more stable as far as peaks and valleys go. The market here is changing week by week. I work every single day, 7 days a week. I'm talking to other agents, I'm talking to my clients, and what I can tell you is that in certain areas of Chicago, you're still able to get a little bit of a deal because of higher interest rates, but in other areas, we're still seeing properties get 5+ offers and go $50,000 plus over ask. I'm gonna be making a video about the areas that you can get more of a deal in right now, so stay tuned for that. Subscribe to my channel and hit the bell notification if you wanna see that video. Number 3, a lot of the neighborhoods in Chicago are very small, which is going to keep inventory very tight in certain areas. If we look at a neighborhood like Bucktown, for example, it's this triangle right here, but east of the highway is really just kind of commercial and retail stores like Target, Home Depot. So it's really only west of the highway that you get the more residential areas. And this is a very, very popular neighborhood. A lot of people live here, and there just aren't a whole lot of homes and condos to go around since it's so small. So obviously when there's more demand than there is supply, prices are gonna go up. And this is a neighborhood we've seen huge appreciation in over the past 10 years in Chicago. One reason certain neighborhoods are more desirable than other neighborhoods is because of public transportation. And compared to other cities, Chicago does actually have pretty good public transportation, but there are kind of pockets of the city where there are less options than others. You might have like 1 or 2 bus line options, but the trains really need to be built out and expanded in Chicago, which obviously is very expensive and takes a really long time to do, so I don't see that happening anytime soon. The 4th thing to keep in mind if you are not familiar with the Chicago or Illinois market is that Illinois is an attorney state, which means that we use attorneys throughout our contract process. The attorneys that I work with have done thousands of real estate transactions in every type of market, so they really know how to navigate some potentially dicey situations. And yes, you do have to pay for attorneys, but their fees are wrapped into your closing costs. On that note, let's talk about closing costs. A lot of first-time buyers, rightfully so, really just focus on saving enough money for a down payment. But what they might not realize is that there are additional closing costs. And what are closing costs? They're really just a bunch of fees. They include things like loan origination fees, attorney fees, title fees, appraisal and survey fees. So as you can see, a lot of fees. But the main thing you need to know about closing costs in Chicago is that they're typically 2 to 3% of the purchase price. So if you're buying a $500,000 home and you have $100,000 saved up, you're gonna need to allocate, let's say, $15,000 of that towards your closing costs, which would leave you $85,000 or 17% for a down payment. The last thing I want to talk about in this video is homeowners associations or HOAs. This is more common than not if you are buying a condo in Chicago, whether it's a 3-flat or a 50-story building. And these fees can range anywhere from $200 a month to $5,000 plus a month, depending on the building. These kind of like old historic buildings, like the ones you see close to the lake or on the lake, are gonna have those really, really high HOA fees, or if it is a super, super uber luxury building. So this is something that you just have to factor in with your monthly payment. It's not just your mortgage and taxes. If you are buying into an association, you have to account for the HOA fees every month. If you're a renter and you're interested in me making a similar video to this just about rentals, leave me a comment and let me know. I would be happy to do that. Also, if you're interested in working with me, you can fill out the form in my description box or shoot me an email. I would love to work with you, and I hope to see you in my next video. Bye.